The most important part of self-improvement is outlining your overall goals, your direction. This is very important because this is the basis of your entire self-improvement, the crux of your self-improvement, the foundation. If it's weak, if it is flimsy, if it's not your actual desires, but just stuff you see on social media that aren't rooted in things bigger than yourself, like helping out your family, becoming free, and overall living up to your potential, then your self-improvement journey is just going to be much harder to stay on track. Your foundations will be weak, and even if you do make it, you won't be fulfilled. If your desires are just to finally lose your V to some beautiful girl, or get loads of women, to get supercars and mansions, there's a high chance either you lack maturity or you're a teenager that's still in school and subjected to the social pressures. Now, I'm not saying without a weak foundation you can't get there. You can. When you do, trust me, it's not going to be what you think it is, and you won't be satisfied at all. Just going to want more and more and more out of sheer hedonism, out of sheer addiction, because that's low quality dopamine. You will be stuck on a hedonistic treadmill, and that's because your goals are most likely rooted in hedonistic things, not eudaimonic things. I'll speak more about this later on in the video, but for now, I need you to understand that this is a doing video. This isn't going to be a video that you watch and you just sit down and you're just consuming the content. You're going to actually do something that's going to help you, because we're all about action. I promise you, do not halfway do these things in the video that I'm about to tell you. You're not going to get the value for your time if you do. Now, if you're younger, this might not hit you, but I'll say it again. If you genuinely want to get the maximum value for your time in this video, then do the real life steps in this video. I can't force you to do anything, so it's your choice now. Alright, now the first in real life step, I want you to get a pen, a piece of paper, and your voice. And I literally want you to talk to yourself about what you actually want. What goals are actually yours and what goals are just from edits and social media influences. You need to keep asking why and keep digging. And now a lot of you might be afraid to do this because this might expose how shallow some of your aspirations are. But if they are, then they are. You need to keep digging to the root of that tree. Keep asking why. Because a lot of these times, these goals just come from other people force feeding what they want you to do subconsciously, and you don't even realize it. Especially if you're one of those people who watch a lot of motivational stuff on one of those scrolling apps like Instagram, TikTok, all of that stuff. Now, before you do this, there's a key principle that you need to know in order to really help you with this. Before you write down your goals, think to yourself, is this a eudaimonic goal or a hedonistic one? Do I want this goal so that others can admire me, or do I want this goal so I can respect myself? Do I want this goal for the betterment of myself, or so that other people around me think that I'm some alpha or that I'm mugging everyone? Now, this compass is going to help you to pick goals that will actually make you feel fulfilled. Somewhere in here, now this can be up for debate, but I generally think this is very important. And there has to be something for financial freedom. Not for supercars or so your status increases or nothing like that, but to help your family out now and your future family so that you guys can be free. Now, how you do that is what we'll get onto later on in the vid. But even if you have a passion, there's always a way you can leverage that to make a business or to make money, to become financially free. If you want to become a doctor or a lawyer, you can start your own firm, start your own business. It doesn't matter what you want to do. You can become financially free with what you want to do. It's just the way you go about doing it. Now, you can think about your goals as we go along the vid, or if you want to take further and you actually want to pause now and really get these in check, then do it now. Take action now, talk with yourself. Think and write down these things. Write down your overall goals that you want for life. Take as much time as you think you need. I'm not going to say come back in 5 minutes or whatever. Do what you need to do. Next, we need to talk about something very important before you go off and you even try to start to form habits and do all these goals and tick them off. And that is motivation and the lie that's been told. Motivation is just a spark that lights the beginning embers of starting self-improvement. However, most people on self-improvement, they use it like a drug, like it's compound V. They keep trying to spark the embers, and at first it works for a bit, the motivation works, for a few days they're motivated, and then they keep trying again and again and again, and it works less and less and less until eventually it doesn't do anything anymore. They keep falling back into old habits. They keep doing the stuff that they're not meant to do. They're not being consistent, and it's not enough, especially when the flames get to a certain point. When you get to a certain point in this journey, that's not going to cut it. That's not going to be enough. You can't just watch a reel to get that little spark of motivation again and get in that mode. You're just going to need to get up and do what you need to do, and the only way you can do that is with discipline. The only way to fan those flames, to fan those embers and turn them into a roaring firestorm, is to actually be consistent. And the only way to do that is through your habits. Everything you do in your life is a habit, and each day nerve connections are either strengthened or weakened. If you're just starting self-improvement right now, there's going to be a lot of nerve connections that you're going to need to break. There's going to be a lot of nerve connections that you're going to need to start. And that's the next topic we'll get onto later on in the video. Now, the second thing, always remember that you do not have as much time as you think. Now, in the macro sense, of course, you have years upon years to do what you need to do. It's almost unfathomable how much time we actually have on our hands when we're younger. However, on a day-to-day basis, in the micro sense, we don't have that much time. And I need you to think about this when I'm actually going to give you the scenario and the reality of time. It's almost rubbish that's bad that young people have all the time in the world, because people don't understand you don't experience the full 24 hours of the day. You're sleeping for almost half of that, let alone the rest of the day. Let's say you wake up at 8 a.m. It takes you an hour to get ready, so it's about 9 already. Start your habits and tasks. The hours start to go by 9, 10, 11, 12. You have some lunch. Most people don't really care too much about their time while they're eating, so let's say it takes another hour. You're watching something on your phone while eating. By that time, it's already 1 p.m. You've only experienced 4 hours of work, 4 hours of actually doing something to get you closer towards your goals. 2, 3, 4, 5. It's now dinner. It takes another hour. That's 6. And if you have to wash dishes in your house, you know that's gonna take that's like 7. On a bad day, that's 7. It's already 7 p.m. 8, now you're winding down. 9, now you're in bed. And 10, by 10 you're asleep. And that's on a perfect, efficient day. That's if you're at the top of the top echelon in self-improvement. You're disciplined, you're doing all your tasks, and you're just knocking them down every day. If you're not disciplined, this is not going to be the reality of your day. If you have all of these aspirations in life that you want to do, you want to be financially free, you want to be athletic, you're a beast of nature, you want to have loads of skills that you can learn, like cooking, reading, loads of hobbies that you want to do and get good at, literally become the best you can be, max out all your stats on a day-to-day basis. If you're not in school, I haven't even talked about for the people who are in school, it's even less time, but on a day-to-day basis you have around 8 to 9 hours, and if you're not using that efficiently, it's even less. That's if you're not in school, and that's if you don't have a job that day, if you're not clocking in for your shift that day. And if you're in school, you come home at 4 p.m. earliest, and for some they get home a little bit later. Let's say you come home, you do an hour of revision, which most people they do not do. They come home, they do some rubbish on their phones, and they just do a bunch of rubbish. It's now 5, 6 or something, you eat, and after that you literally only have 4 hours left. And that's on a day-to-day basis. That's why you have to be so efficient with your time on self-improvement if you actually want to knock down these goals, if you actually want to take it serious. Most people, they don't talk about this on self-improvement. This isn't the nice, fun side of self-improvement. Actually getting the goals done, doing what you need to do. So no, you don't have a lot of time, and most people, they're squandering that time every single day. So most of the time they're only getting in barely an hour, and at that, it's watching some video like you might be doing right now. It's not actually putting in stuff into practice. If you aren't consistent with your habits, you'll never achieve the goals that you want to do. And that's why I stress this so much in this video. You need to be making 1% to 2% progress every single day. 2% is if you're very efficient. 1% at least every day. And you do that through your habits. And if you're on the job, if you're on the ball, you can 100% cement these habits in around 2 to 3 weeks. 2 weeks if you're actually on it. If you're lazy and you're doing your habits some days and other days you're not doing your habits, it's going to take around a month, or even more, depends. Which is why consistency is so important. Now, using your overall goals that you've made, you can determine what habits that you need to do to forge your reality. Now, there's some habits that you're going to need to have as a core to build up the foundations of your self-improvement, to teach you these things like learning, being consistent, these level 1 activities that you need to have in your schedule if you're first starting out self-improvement. For example, I can assume your sleep schedule is horrible, correct? You probably barely get 8 hours of sleep, if less. Maybe you wake up in the middle of the night, or your sleep schedule is so bad, because I'm probably going to be uploading this on the holidays. Your sleep schedule is literally so bad that it's gone topsy-turvy. You wake up in the afternoon and you go to sleep in the morning. If so, then getting your sleep is your #1 priority. If it's a phone addiction problem, then you don't want this bad enough, because sleep is literally a self-improvement drug. It gives you more dopamine, it helps you with your discipline and your habits so much for the next day. It makes you more alert, more focused, more sharp. And I made a whole video on a lot of stuff, but it's very important for everything in your life, for literally everything. And if you're serious about your health, this is the number one thing you can do to completely change your health for the better. It's literally the number one thing you can do for your health, especially in puberty. If it's an actual insomnia problem, there's a few things you can do. The first thing you need to do is, most likely you're eating way too late. If you're eating at 7, 8, 9, there's no way you're even going to have high quality sleep, and there's no way that you're going to actually get to sleep on time, because sleep quality is actually more important than how long you sleep. Yes, you need to be eating at 4, 5, 6 latest, 6 p.m. latest, because what you need to realize is you need to be winding down, and eating before a big meal, especially if it's a big meal, destroys your sleep quality. And this is the best wind down routine. You want to have your room nice and cold, so before you're about to go to bed, you want to open up your room window, make sure your fan is on, and make sure your room is nice and cold. Next, you're going to take a nice hot shower. What this is going to do is it's actually going to cool down your body, as your body realizes, hey, it's hot, we need to cool down. Because if you're actually too hot, your body physically cannot go to sleep. That's why it's actually easier to sleep in the winter than in the summer. It's best to actually write this down, by the way, because I'm going to give you like some actual tips. I'm giving you the source. You want to make sure you're nose breathing while you're sleeping. This is going to dramatically increase your sleep quality. So what you want to do is you want to put a thin strip of paper, or not paper, of sellotape, just on your nose like this, from the top to the bottom of your lip. It's going to force yourself to nose breathe. It's not only good for facial health and facial aesthetics, but it's going to dramatically increase your sleep quality. Now, after your shower, once you actually get in bed after you finish drying off and everything, what you want to do is you want to lie down and you want to imagine that you're basically becoming paralyzed. I know this sounds weird, but stay with me, please. You want to start the paralyzation procedure at your feet, and it's going to slowly come up to your knees and then your hips, and then it's gonna come up. You understand what I mean. And while you're doing this, you need to be breathing deeply. Deep breaths coming out through your nose. Obviously your mouth should be taped. You basically want to be gaslighting yourself into thinking you're paralyzed. You don't want to be moving at all, and your body's gonna try to convince itself that it's uncomfortable in some way, and it's gonna want to move around a lot. Move as minimally as possible. Give yourself three times to move if it's really that deep. Once you get to the neck down, everything under the neck down is gone. You're paralyzed. It's over. Because there's 4 things that usually stop people from actually getting to sleep. Either they're moving around too much, they're changing positions too much, their heartbeat is too fast, so they need to calm down and it needs to be lowered, their body temperature is too much, they're too hot or they're too cold, and their mind is racing. Now the second and the last, no, it's not the second, but the last thing that I need to tell you is that you need to stop your mind from racing, and the easiest way to do that is to just start counting, or even try to start lucid dreaming, or there's a lot of stuff that you can do, but the main thing that you want to do is to basically stop thinking about random stuff, right? You don't want to be thinking about random stuff. Literally just calm down and wind down. Just think about the day, how good it was, and relax. Don't need no flipping stupid military method to get you to sleep. It's literally just relaxing your brain. Now, once I start lucid dreaming, bro, I'm going to be doing a lucid dreaming, guys. It's going to be cold, bro. I can't wait. I'm not going to lie, going to bed at 10 p.m. is a myth. It's a legend. You're not going to actually get 8 hours of sleep if you have this in your mind, I'm going to go to bed at 10. Actually go to bed at 9. And I'm telling you, you're going to actually start to get your 8 hours of sleep. Going to bed at 10 is a myth. People say they're going to go to bed at 10. They go to bed at 10, right? But it's like 10:30. It's almost 11. And by the time it hits 11, it's over. It's actually much harder to get to sleep and getting your sleep quality and producing the optimal amount of hormones that your body needs. Trust me, 9 p.m. is a strat. You want to be in bed asleep by 9 p.m. Again, I know I'm talking about sleep in a self-improvement guide, but bro, sleep is literally, it's one of the most important things. It's going to help you attack and destroy these bad habits completely. It's going to help you attack the day in a completely different manner. It's OP. If you don't get your sleep, you're literally working at 40%, maybe 30% capacity. First habit, sleeping. We got that down. Next habit, visualization. Now, the reason why this is so important is that your success lags behind your vision of yourself. If you can see it, it can happen. And I don't mean that in a wishy-washy sense, the law of attraction, the universe is going to align for you if you don't do any work. But I'm saying the confidence you'll gain and the momentum you'll be able to produce. Every single night, you're going to sleep, you're imagining the life that you want. You're literally feeling it in your fingertips. Even if you can lucid dream it, this is going to be amazing for you. Let's say you have enough money to go hiking with your friends wherever you want in the world. You're traveling throughout the whole world with your friends. you've retired your mum, you're doing these sorts of things and you're imagining them. If you're imagining them in your mind, if you can see it, I promise you can believe it. And you're not only going to be more motivated, I know I talked about motivation, it's also going to help you with your day-to-day goals. It's going to keep reminding you why you're doing this, and this will skyrocket your self-improvement, I'm telling you. I made a video on this talking about this in general in a much deeper way. You can watch it if you want to go a bit deeper into that and you want to fully do that 100%. We have 2 habits: sleep and visualization. The next one, and I'm sure you know this, everyone talks about it, is literally the gym. Calisthenics, gym. Any 2 of those, it's going to help you to not only start to build the building blocks of consistency. If you've never done anything consistent before, if you've never actually been on the grind like that before, going to the gym and calisthenics are going to be the start of an amazing journey for you, because you're going to actually be able to see progress and see what consistency can do for you. That's why it's a must to have for everyone's routine when they're starting self-improvement. Now, unfortunately, this is just the beginning, and this is where most people stop. They make the gym and working out their whole personality, and then they completely stop there. They think they're going to become a multi-millionaire or whatever by just going to the gym and reading books. It's not that hard at all to build that much consistency in the gym. You literally just have to turn up. Once you're there, you literally just sitting down, you're just lifting the weights as hard as possible. It's generally not as hard as people make it out to be. It's not that hard. I'll link a calisthenics routine down in the description below. Now, if you want to take it a little bit further, you can even take up a martial art. Now, this is leagues ahead of going to the gym and calisthenics in terms of not only the confidence that you're going to gain, but the discipline that you're going to build. If I were to rank it, I'd say it'd be gym, calisthenics, and then the apex would literally be taken up a martial art. BJJ, kickboxing, Muay Thai, boxing, wrestling. Oh my day, if you're picking up any of those, not only your confidence is going to increase, but your discipline and your consistency as well is going to bleed into every other habit, into every other facet of your life. It's a very key habit. I'm not going to go into too much depth with this. Gym, calisthenics, or fighting, or you could even do both. You could do gym or picking up a fighting skill. You could do either one, but I'd recommend, if you're just starting out, to just take it slow and go with the gym. When I say take it slow, I'm not saying for you to be a bum and literally just do the littlest amount that you have to do. You're going to increase it, but you need to start building that consistency and that trust with yourself when you say you're going to do something. I'll get into this later on in the video, but it's very important in building up your discipline. People, when they start self-improvement, they see all the edits, they see David Goggins, they literally want to do everything at once. We do not have that much time in the day, not only to do everything at once, but you're literally not going to be, as I said, if you're going from not even being able to stop touching yourself, literally scrolling on your phone all day, you are not going to be able to go from that to super discipline. You may be able to do that for a few days or a week, but again, you're going to need that little motivation hit again before you're able to do that sort of intensity. Consistency beats intensity every single time. Now, when you learn to combine the both, that's when you're really winning. I see too many people make this mistake. They just stop at self-improvement on doing cold showers, going to the gym, reading books, but this is probably one of the most important parts of self-improvement, and it separates the people who are actually on self-improvement and the people who aren't. Think that life is sweet because they're just in school, they're being coddled by their parents, but wait till you're 17, 18, that frontal lobe starts developing, you start to realize, yo, I need to do something, like I need to make it, bro. I'm not trying to live paycheck to paycheck. I literally need to do something with my life. I need to be free. You're gonna start to realize that the time you spend hours, thousands of hours trying to get better at literal virtual video games that don't actually exist in the real world, developing skills in those games instead of skills that could literally be helping you to make money, to literally be free, to help your family, to get out. Because games mimic the fulfillment that we get from doing these skills in real life. You're going to get just as much fulfillment as getting on top of that skill curve for sales, literally being the best at sales or marketing. And it's literally going to make you money versus being the best at Fortnite. Like, obviously that's going to make you money if you're doing the esports and stuff, but if you're not making money from games, and if you don't plan to make money from games, why are you playing? Oh, it's just a bit of fun. Okay, I get that, it's just a bit of fun. You can have a bit of fun, that's fine. When you're playing for 8 hours a day, that's not just a bit of fun anymore. That's an escape. No person just gets on for 2 hours. No person literally just sits on, okay guys, let's hop on, we're gonna play for 1 hour. Like that's not what you say to your boys when you're hopping on. You say, okay, let's hop on, I will just play for a bit. You don't play for a bit, do you? You play for multiple hours. you escape. It's obvious, it's such a travesty that it's just happened. People spend more time grinding levels on literal games like Blocks Fruits or like Roblox games, literally typing in closed communities to get access. It's just so... I'm not even saying right now to completely give up games, because that's a stretch. You're not going to be able to completely give up an addiction like that. However, I am saying to reduce the time at least, or to literally, if you're playing games, at least develop a skill in real life as well. Obviously nothing, no prospects. It's complacency, because you don't have to worry about none of that right now. So you're just spending your time living the fun years of your life. As if getting money isn't fun either. As if developing skills that will help you and going to the gym, doing these sorts of habits isn't fun either. The difference is the dopamine isn't cheap, it's quality dopamine. It makes you feel good. Again, hedonistic desires. Do you finish doing a workout, you release serotonin, you feel good afterwards, you feel like you accomplished something. Because after you hop off of a game with the boys, your boys leave the pie chat, they have to go eat and do something. It's like a feeling of emptiness, of, oh, I wish we could play just a bit more. Now, I would recommend from today, picking a side hustle, a business model to go 100% all in. Every single day. The number one thing to remember about this, and this is a huge misconception people are first going into this, is that the business model is just a vehicle. You are the driver. The driver matters the most. The driver matters the most. The driver is the most important part. Dropshipping, SMMA, coaching, faceless YouTube, clothing brand, Amazon FBA, crypto, day trading, automation agency, real estate, online community, clipping TikToks, video editing. All of these business models work. They all work. Oh, but it's saturated. Everything is saturated. You try and find an industry that isn't saturated, you'll become a billionaire. Every single industry in the world is saturated. About all of the business models I just listed, there are thousands of people making money. Thousands. So using critical thinking and knowledge, of course, it's not the vehicle. It's not that certain business model doesn't work. You don't work. So if any of them hasn't worked for you, you need to be honest. It's you. You literally just need to stick with one. Put an average person in an F1 car and they're dying. They wouldn't be able to drive it. The business model is not the problem. No, a poop eating business doesn't work because not a single person has become successful from eating poop, from eating literal feces. All of them work. Don't try Google it anyway. There's no way that... What do you know? Maybe that's something you can get into. No, but maybe you just need to be an influencer, bro. Try the Dubai porta potty. The main thing that matters and that will always matter is you, the driver. And for all of these vehicles, they may seem faster on your road, but what you need to understand is that each vehicle has their own tricks and turns and everything that makes it hard for that vehicle. And that's why when people see shiny object syndrome, they try and hop from business model to business model, thinking that other business models are easier, when in reality they're just as hard because they come with their own little things that are hard for that specific business. 80 to 90% of your ability to become financially free depends on you. That's why learning skill sets is so important as well, and some of them will even blend. For example, I can make this vehicle analogy, right? An F1 driver and a MotoGP driver, they both need to know how to take corners on. Just how a dropshipper and a clothing brand owner both need to know how to market and sell their products. Do you see what I mean now? I don't care what excuses you might have, that's the game. I'm not saying to ditch the games completely right now, but I'm saying the earlier you do it, the better it's going to be for you in the future. Don't you remember when you first started learning about the gym and all that stuff and you realized, damn, I wish I went to the gym sooner. I wish instead of messing around, I was in the gym sooner. You see those memes about saying, oh, how I wish I bought Bitcoin when I was 5 years old. It's going to be the same thing when you realize, oh my God, I was literally just messing around doing absolutely nothing with my life when I could have been doing something that would help me right now. AKA when you get to that point where you're 17, you're 18 and you realize, yo, the world ain't sweet. I need to do something. I need to do something. I need to make it out. It's the same feeling but times 100, because the difference is it was always in your reach. Now, for what business model you're going to pick, I'd recommend choosing a business model that you think you can attack, that you just see and you have a feeling that, yo, I could do that. Like, I could crush competition. I know I could do that well. That you just have that sort of arrogant confidence with. The main thing is to just pick a model that you're confident in, that you know, yo, I could crush in that. I've seen that guy doing it. There's nothing about that guy that I see that I cannot do. Like that guy is literally just like me. I can literally just do it just like him, even better. Those are just a few criteria. Obviously do as much research as you can after you watch this video on all of the stuff that you need to do. Now, the last core habit that you should definitely have while starting on self-improvement is reading. Reading is so powerful, and the reason why it's so powerful is because you can literally gain years worth of knowledge from people who are already in a position that you want to be in. Watching a video is fine, but the amount of information that you can absorb from just reading, it's not only faster, but it's more information dense as well. Again, what's going to separate you from all the other people that read loads of self-improvement books is that they don't put it into practice. They use the fact that they've read a lot of books as a way to puff up their own ego. It doesn't matter if you've read a lot of self-improvement books if you haven't put them into practice. I'd recommend not trying to set a goal of trying to read a book a week or something like that. That's not going to do anything for you. When you're reading something, you need to put it into action. I wouldn't advise reading for long periods of time unless you're putting what you're reading into action, having a sort of system. This is also the reason why when people read books, they'll forget what they learn because they're not putting anything into action. They're just reading it for the sake of it sitting in their mind and saying they have the knowledge. The one thing I can attest to books is that you'll never know if a book can completely change your life and your life trajectory. There are so many millionaires that attest their success to one book literally changing their life and their view on money or a bunch of other topics together that has helped them. Books, they can help you gain so much more knowledge and skills as well, like sales, marketing, talking to people, networking, anything. Books are very powerful, and the people who say that they don't need books, it's not even a debate. Like you can't even debate. Like, books are very important. Just set a very minimal goal of just applying one thing you learn from the book every single day. Sleep, visualization, gym, or calisthenics or martial arts, or you could do multiple. By the way, I don't mean to split up gym and calisthenics, just most people, they either choose one or the other. You can 100% combine both, and I'd recommend to combine both, but when you're first starting out, programming your plan and doing all your workouts and stuff, most people aren't going to be able to put in the hybrid stuff, so I just say pick one or the other. It's actually not that hard. You should be able to do it if you really want to do
calisthenics and gym.
Next, obviously, you go your business plan, and after that is reading. Those are the 5 that you should have. Those are your core habits. Now I'll give you time to pause and think of any other habits that you want to add. However, I will say, please make sure not to put down random habits that aren't actually going to help you with your overall goals. If you're adding a habit, make sure that's actually going to help you with your overall goals. You see a lot of people on self-improvement, they'll have a lot of habits that help with their overall well-being, but they're not actual habits that is a need. They're not core habits that when you add to your life, it will 100% be life-changing. Like taking a cold shower, it isn't necessarily life-changing, bro. If you take a cold shower for 365 days a year, nothing significantly crazy is going to happen in your life. And that's what I mean by habits that you shouldn't really put on the tracker and that you don't really need. Where you're putting your habits matters as well. Make sure it's not in some phone app. Make sure it's something that you can physically see and that you can physically tick off and write down every day. I'll show you my habit tracker that I have, and it's really important that you have a physical one. Also, the act of ticking your goals and seeing yourself become consistent over the days is going to boost your self-improvement by leaps and bounds. And an effect is going to happen when you see all those crosses. It's going to make you realize something has to change. And that is the crux of self-improvement. Getting the ball rolling and keeping that consistency. Now I'll give you time to set. You can pause and set your habits and do what you need to do right now. Cool. Now that you got your habits, this is a very important thing, and I'm going to be talking about how to build that discipline to where you can do your goals and you can get up and just start grinding and doing what you need to do. Now what you need to start doing is you need to start building back that trust between your mind and your body. When your mind says something, you need to be in sync enough that your body just goes and does it. I'm not saying like they're two separate entities. You are part of your mind and your body, right? But you need to be able to think something and to just go out and do it. And most people, because they've set that goal for themselves, because they've set many goals for themselves in the past of stuff that they said that they're gonna do and that they don't do, it's completely destroyed that trust with them and themselves. When they say they're going to do something, they don't do it. And what you need to do is you need to start building these mini wins. Every single day you need to get tasks done that you set for yourself that you do. And if you're not hitting those tasks, then you need to determine what is going wrong. You need to determine why. Are you wasting time? Is it this? Is it that? You need to determine the problem, and then you need to change it and fix it. Making those little incremental improvements every single day is what's going to start to build your discipline. Every time you lose, your mind and body get out of sync. and every time you win, your mind and body start to get into sync again. They start to get into more sync on some like Ash Greninja sort of stuff. Every day you need to start setting tasks and you need to start doing them. So every single day, in regards to your goals, set one task that you know you can do. Don't set no crazy task. Set something that's so easy you know you can do it. And then once you do that, increase it. And I don't mean increase it every single day. You should be increasing it. In fact, I would say there's no one set way or how many times you should increase it. Once it starts getting easy, once you can hit it off consistently, then you start increasing your tasks. But I don't mean increasing the number of tasks, I mean increasing how hard that task is. Every single one of your tasks, by the way, should be putting something into action. It should never be a passive task like watching a video. Watching a video is cool, you're going to be getting the knowledge, but putting it into action is actually going to be moving the game state, it's going to be moving the chess piece, it's going to be making progress towards that goal, however little that it might be. And that's why the habit tracker is so powerful, because you can literally see where you're going wrong. So every time you wake up, every day you wake up in the morning, set out 5 tasks that you need to do regarding obviously the habits that you've picked. And you can't tick off that habit until you've done those tasks. When you're ticking them off, when you're doing the habits, it's going to give you that fulfillment, that serotonin, that eudaimonic dopamine. It's going to make you realize, yo, I'm making progress right now. Like, I'm doing something with my life. Taking a cold shower for an entire year versus working on your business model day and night for an entire year, what's going to have the biggest difference? Exactly. All fine and dandy watching loads of videos, but if you're not putting it into action, nothing's going to work. You're going to make no progress. You're just going to have the knowledge in your head. This is so important, because this is what most people do. Because you can watch all the vids that you want. A person who's already started and failed once is already 200 miles down the track ahead of you, and you haven't even started your car yet. That's why you need to do both. And the people who can do both are the people who go the furthest. Now, on this journey, there are certain things that you shouldn't do, and it is paramount, it is so important that you don't do these things, or this is going to completely stagnate your progress. And number 1 on that list is 100% fapping. I'm not saying that you can't become successful if you fap, but I'm saying chronic fapping is one of the worst things that's going to completely destroy not only your dopamine receptors and actually doing the tasks that you need to do. It's going to destroy your discipline, your willpower, it's going to increase your prolactin. There's a lot I can get into the whole reasons, the neurological reasons. You probably already know that being your meat and looking at women lustfully on a screen is not good for your brain, and it's not good for yourself in general. Now, I need you to understand, it is not impossible to break this habit. It's not impossible at all. If people have broken addictions like heroin and cocaine, I should emphasize heroin more, heroin, literal heroin, and why can't you stop touching your penis, bro? What you need to realize is that it's actually easier. Yes, it's on the same levels in the source of stimulation that you get, but it's actually easier. People have stopped amphetamines, and an amphetamine is literally 1,000 orgasms in one. That's what you're not understanding. People have literally stopped things that are 10 times harder, and yet you think it's impossible to stop. Get that out of your mind right now. Stop giving this addiction power, because it shouldn't have any power over you. You need to give yourself back the power, and this is why I hate a lot of these self-improvement YouTubers making so many videos on NoFap, because it's rubbish. You can conquer this, and there's some simple steps that if you just keep going, keep plowing through, you will conquer this addiction. It's not rocket science. I'm also going to give you a lot of steps that you haven't heard before that's going to actually help you. Another reason why it's not the same as the other addictions as well is what you need to realize: you don't get proper withdrawal symptoms. If you try to go completely cold turkey with a heroin addict and he's on a train, he will literally start to convulse, he will literally have convulsions, his body will start shutting down because his body needs it. Whereas if you are on public transport, no matter if you get the urge or whatever, you are not going to pull out your wood and start jacking off. There's no way in hell you're going to be doing that. So there's an obvious compulsion, and there's an obvious sense in your mind that you know what you're doing and that you're in control. There's no biological effect that it has on you where you literally have withdrawal symptoms. If you're in a public place for the rest of your life, you just wouldn't jack off ever, and you know it. If you're on the train for the rest of your living life, you wouldn't jack off at all. So you are 100% conscious, and you are 100% responsible for all of your actions when you're doing it. That's my main point. You need to stop giving this addiction power like it's the Mount Everest of addictions, because it's really not. It's actually just a hill compared to the other addictions, like literally meth, heroin, cocaine, hard drugs that people have conquered. Now, of course, there are temptations that arise. This is the problem, the temptations. The way how people deal with the thoughts and the temptations that happen that cause them to do these things is what gets them to fail every single time. Your number 1 goal and your number 1 asset to cure this addiction is to run away. You need to stop trying to sit in the boiling pot, sit in the lava and try to resist these temptations. Run away from these temptations. And you can do that any way you can, especially if you're deep into this addiction. If you started from very, very young and you don't even use the hub anymore, you have like your own special site that you use that you like, bro, you need to start running from temptation. There's no use trying to wrestle with it, because that's what the devil wants. He wants your ego and pride to think that you can tussle with the temptation. Oh yeah, I can sit here and still look at this and still not be. No, run away. So what does this mean? This means deleting all of your social media apps that may come up with anything sort of suggestive. Like, if you still have TikTok and you're really trying to quit this, I can't take you seriously. I cannot take you seriously, because those scrolling apps are all built to literally promote that sort of content, because that content is always going to go viral. It's always going to keep people on the platform. It's going to keep people flipping. It's just horrible.
Does y'all TikTok search do this too? Like, something really weird is going on. I'll be on the app, right? Then I'll type in something like a car, or like, let's say Spider-Man, and somehow, some way, without fail, it will be either a thirst trap or a girl shaking butt. Like, for instance, I would type in Spider-Man, I'm seeing Sophie Rain in a Spider-Man costume shaking butt. Or like I said, I'll type in a car. It was a car I was thinking about buying. I literally see a video of a girl shaking butt in the tint of her car. Like, if I was typing in Tyler dance videos or something, I could see thirst traps being like a recommended. But why is Spider-Man equated with Sophie Rain? Why is cars equated with butt? Y'all know when y'all see a video, it could be a movie or something, and then y'all see that blue comment that says the other POV? Because if y'all didn't know, if you type in the other POV, you can see like the other POV. If you type in part 2, you can see the part 2 of the next video. Well, if you do that, it will always take you to the weirdest, like dang near corn type of video. I literally had to block an account because it was that bad. And a lot of y'all might be like, dang, why are you tripping about seeing half naked girl? Because bro, some of us not trying to get tempted. Some traps being like a recommended. But why is Spider-Man equated?
So for my mainly